G'day, ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Thank you for being so patient, I suppose, with me taking a, 2 week break. After the event, I was pretty burnt out, and now I'm more or less ready to get back into it. I'll probably just go nice and slow, especially considering uni is starting to pick up now. I'm off semester break. But there are a couple of things that I would like to talk about before we actually get onto the video. So, first of all appropriate links, I've redone them in a little thing in the description below. So if you want to check out any of the links, they'll be in a sort of master link, if you will. Of course, the Air Models link will still be on top because they're my channel partner. But of course, if you want to look at Twitch, Twitter, other things like that, that'll all be in there. Speaking of Twitch, I actually haven't really been able to stream at all because I've had to move back with my parents because they had financial reasons basically. So I don't really have a good internet connection anymore. Hopefully the NBN will get put in and I'll be able to get a nice package which will allow us to be able to stream. But at the same time, I don't get so much of as a shred of privacy in this house. So it would probably be few and far between regardless, unless I either moved out or, found somewhere quiet, which doesn't really happen here. Anyway, the F-89B. This particular plane is kind of looked over. And I feel it's partially due to the fact that it was ridiculously abused when it was first introduced. Not in a bad way, not like I don't know, some horrible domestic violence. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The F-89B, not the F-89D, which is the one that is actually stupid broken. The F-89B is fairly good. It is just a decent plane overall. And the fact that it gets up tiers to 8.7 doesn't really matter. It can actually hold its own at 8.7 as a 7.7. For me, that's kind of remarkable because that doesn't always happen. Look at the F2H Banshee. That has always struggled in an up tier, and it's 8.0, but you get the point. Things like the F-84G are fairly good at this battle rating. They have certain aspects and attributes that they can exploit, their speed. They have their maneuverability, they have their energy retention. You can see F-84Gs down below me sort of trying to clean up the bombers. That kind of gets nullified. However, when you have a plane that just pulls energy out of... I guess energy out of nowhere, but this thing is pretty fat, so it kind of needs it. Things like the Sea Meteor would also probably be pretty good in a full up tier. I have really enjoyed the Sea Meteor, and I also have a video on it, which for some reason got criminally ignored. Oh well. So, speaking of being criminally ignored, these two absolute donuts are going for the TU4. Now, the TU4s are still extremely strong. I don't know why they were down tier to 7.7, because now you can see them at 6.7, and there really isn't anything at 6.7 that can deal with them for every nation. In fact, I don't think everyone has a 6.7 plane. Well, look, putting it this way, I don't think you should see the TU4 in a Griffin Spitfire. I think that that's pathetic, and I think that that shouldn't happen. But it does, and so we have this case here. So this Swift decided it would be an absolute gamer move to turn and then go vertical in front of me to try and kill the TU4. First rule of killing a TU4 is always maintain a high speed. Never come at a speed of less than, say, 500 kilometers per hour. Never mind the fact that you have an F-89B behind you and are stalling out in front of you, trying to pitch up. That is an absolute no-no. So if you can avoid that, I would highly recommend it. And as you can see with the F-89, I'm here trying to tussle with this MiG-15, and he's kind of ignoring me because he's got to get away from the TU-4, which is a sort of smart thing. But then at the same time, he's left himself a little bit high and dry. He hasn't really gotten himself the speed that he needs to get away from me because, of course, the F-89B, while still being a 7.7, is actually quite competitive at this sort of full up tier, because it's not entirely bad. In fact, its attributes, the things that make it good, kind of carry on to the next battle rating, which is why things like the Swift F7 are actually really good in an up tier, and things like the CL13 are also really good in an up tier. So there goes that MiG-15. This thing has 6 20mm cannons, which are more or less analogous to the F-100's cannons, sort of similar to the F-2 Sabres cannons, but I think they're a little bit... I think they're somewhere in between. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, someone let me know in the comments. You guys have an absolute wealth of information, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. So, good guy Mr. Spit here is helping out his TU4 buddy, which, I don't know. I suppose TU4s are a little bit, cancer, but if you will, he's on my team anyway, and I thought I might as well give him a hand since I've got nothing else to shoot at. Meanwhile, my team has practically come up and cleaned up the enemies. And you know what? That's pretty good. I really appreciate it when you get a good team, because sometimes you just get a day where your teammates are bloody awful, and it's kind of frustrating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the plane into a bit of a dive, see if I can pick up this F9F if they're having trouble with it, because it seems like they've been going at it for a little while. Plus the F9F turns a lot better than these two guys, so if one of them gets into a shitty situation, then at least I can help them out if the Swift isn't there, for example. And I'm going to go down, and he manages to oof himself into the ground, but not before taking the J29A with him. TU-14 decides to pop out of the horizon, and because of the clouds, I don't really see where he's coming from. I think he's going to pop off to the left, if I remember the footage correctly. You can see there, just underneath, and I miss him. So, what I'm going to do, engage the, I guess it's afterburner? I suppose it's like a primitive jet wep, but I'm not really sure. So, there we go. There goes his tail. Those guns are actually really, really strong. So it doesn't matter what you are, you do not want to sit behind or in front of an F-89B. The guns are really, really devastating. The problem with this plane is when it comes to slow maneuvers and when you run it out of energy. I've played so many matches where I've just been run out of energy because a Yak-30 has gone to boom and zoom me. Obviously, the Yak-30 has played his plane better than I've played mine. And in this case, you just find yourself a little bit slow and low in energy. And because your airframe is so big and the plane is so fat, it becomes really hard to defensive fly. So if you're on the offensive, like you are on this map and this match, it's really, really easy to come out with a 4-kill game. However, when you're on the back foot, if you haven't got at least 1 or 2 teammates to support you, it's really tough. And for that, I feel like the plane is fairly well balanced. F-86A5 clearly deciding he wanted TU4 booty tonight and got slapped by an F-89B. It's pretty good. It's a good feeling to save your teammate from 3 enemies. And honestly, I think that's something that everyone should strive to as a War Thunder player. Try and, find someone that could give you a hand. And sometimes you might be rewarded with 3 very nice, straightforward kills. The F-89B, in this case, I've shown you what you can do on the offensive. Now, in this case, I'm going to be sort of somewhere in between. Again, I'm in a full up tier. And this pretty much demonstrates that the F-89B is a very, very good jet. I think it's well balanced. I think it's fine at 7.7. I think if you're going to put it any lower, it's going to ruin things. And if you put it any higher, I think it wouldn't do as well. I think having it up against things like CLs, actually, there's nothing at 9.0 that would really damage it. But just for, I suppose, its performance, you would want to balance it by. It would probably be best off at 7.7. 8.0, maybe I wouldn't be too fussed. I'm kind of curious to see how it would pan out, but I don't want to give Gaijin any hints because this thing is well balanced as it is, and it is kind of costly too. So if you ever get some Golden Eagles and want to buy a premium plane, then this particular plane is not too bad actually. If you don't have Golden Eagles, then and you only get a few or something like that, I definitely wouldn't wait to save up for this plane. Probably go for a Japanese Corsair. You can't go wrong with that, trust me. So, we're in this match here, and I've decided to climb. And that's something that I don't really, do too much in jets anymore. But this G91 decides he wants to, be an absolute gamer and go for the vertical. So, you know what? I'll take it, and I'll have a free kill. Thank you very much. This F-86 F-40 here decides he wanted to go for a friendly, so I'm going to crit him too. And as I go in for the dive, I have to really watch my speed because this thing is not fast. That's one of the downfalls of this plane. It is barely faster than a P-80. You know, you probably maybe about 50 to 100 kilometers faster than a P-80. So you don't really want to be pushing it too far. And of course, the Japanese Sabre gets yoinked, so it's not my kill anymore. Which is fine. I can deal with that, I suppose. But the LA-15 is something that I'm going to struggle with because as you can see, I'm starting to get to this low speed area and it's going to be difficult if I can't kill him immediately. And of course, he decides he wants to turn in front of me. Son, this is not how you do it. Oh no. If you're going to do one thing in jets and one thing only, that is keep your speed. I would thoroughly recommend that you work on your speed as a jet player and don't do things like turning in front. Now, this 163 is really going to give me a little bit of a problem because he just oofs himself into the ground. Oh no, he probably blacked out, which is kind of unfortunate. It'd be really nice to have those kills awarded to the nearest player as well. So if they crash, it just goes to the nearest player, kind of like the bailout thing, because then that stops people from being most unsporting, you know what I mean? Regardless, I have a J29 behind me, and this is where I start to really go on the defensive. This J29 is going to come in, and he's going to start spraying, because these guns are actually surprisingly hard to aim. He's going to go out straight, which is the smart thing to do, and I'm going to follow reasonably closely. This thing is fairly fast, and it's, you know, it accelerates okay. It's no top tier jet, but it definitely does have a knack for acceleration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into a straight line and get my speed back, because that thing's really important. If I can't get my speed, then I'm practically screwed, because there's not a whole lot that you can do when you're slow. You tend to be pretty fat. And so I'm going to close in on this J29, who's decided to cut in front of me instead of, keeping his distance. And now he's firmly on that F-35 Sabre, and I'm going to try and go for the kill. Remember, I've got 6 20 mils. I absolutely stuffed the shot up and decide to commit with him because I know that I can probably outturn him. I have bigger wings, and he turns in front of me, which is another big no-no. So I go for the final kill, spray a little bit, and I manage to take it, which is really, really fine and nice and cool. So 3 kills, not too bad. And now I have a French thing coming towards me. I can't tell if it's an Oregon or a Baragon. But you know what? I'm going to spray a bit of ammo and take him out in a head-on. He's slow. There's no way he can avoid that. And he kind of just went, you know what? I'm damaged. I'm probably going to go try and snag a kill. And unfortunately, he didn't have nearly enough energy for that. So there goes another kill. The F-89B is, for me, a fairly well-balanced premium. It's actually not one of those so-called pay-to-win things. And it's not one of those absolutely trash vehicles. It does have a learning curve, though. It's not foolproof, which is kind of nice. So if you're looking for a challenge and you have, 7,000 Golden Eagles to spare, which, not even content creators really have that much to spare, you can probably just go for this one, I suppose. I mean, I'd probably pick something else, but, if you really want an F-89B, it's not a bad pick. I got a fair bit of research, and I got a fair bit of Silver Lions, and I thought that's kind of cool, I suppose. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate that, and thank you for being patient while I have a few weeks off. It's really nice and feeling a bit refreshed. Obviously, all the links in the description below. I really want to know what you guys think of the F-89B. But until then, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe. Take care. And I'll catch you next time.